And racing.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. I'm not sure if you were supposed to hear that, but you did. I muted Season in the Discord so that he wasn't talking over our commentary. And welcome, everybody. My name is Catalyst. I'm joined by my good friend Nax. What's up, Nax?
Hello. I am excited for this. It's early morning for me, but I have awoken in time, so.
That's great. I mean, we're already getting a rocky start here with Season and his random noises. But yeah, we are going to be watching a race between Saastutin and Searzin here in the second round of the losers bracket. It is the number 17 seed Saas against the number 9 seed Searzin. But don't let the seeding confuse you, as the seeding as Saas basically, let's say, submitted his seeding run, his qualifying run pretty late, so it might not exactly reflect the abilities of the two runners. But the main thing about races is you never know what can happen. So it should be exciting either way. And without further ado, I think we are ready to get started.
Yeah, we'll start pretty soon here. There you go. We can even get a
See
live
the
countdown.
Yes. All right, so both runners are starting as Thief with black firebombs and very slim. Though we can see that Searzin also opted for a color on his character and a little bit of style, so to speak.
So I know Sass is doing the new Gothless route. I don't remember what Sazin uses. Do you remember?
I have no
Is
idea.
this
I
game?
have
Okay.
not actually seen Searzin in the tournament yet, so for me it's gonna be a complete surprise.
All right.
But that's why I pointed out that so far, the thief as the starting class got the master key and also the black firebomb as a gift.
Oh, it looks like
All right. Well, Searzin
Gazin
has
got
the issue with his alt
yeah.
tab. Yeah, I'm not sure if he knows how to fix it.
So the way you fix this is by, I think, right clicking or left clicking, but
Yeah.
I didn't know this for a long time, so hopefully he figures this out.
I'm not sure if he fixed it yet, but if he has issues with it, I'll just hop into his channel and tell him. But so far, that little glitch that can happen when you alt tab has definitely put him at a disadvantage here in the Asylum. They both now disposed of the first boss, the Asylum Demon, with the black fire bombs. It takes 5 of them, almost 4, but unfortunately ends up being just 5. And they are both proceeding through the rest of Asylum. They're gonna use in-game. They're not gonna use in-game time strats. Normally, when we time these runs, we time them over in-game time. That's what you will see on the leaderboards. But these races are done real time, so what you see on the screen is exactly the difference between the two runners. And as such, they are both going to wait for the boulder to hit the wall instead of using the quit out and stand up animation to break it.
Yes, and they will not be killing Oscar, even though you might think it's faster. It's actually better just to spam through his dialogue. That's a pretty
correct.
common question.
Yeah, definitely one of the most common ones throughout the years. You saw a little glitch that Sass pulled off there when he was jumping into the cutscene there. He opens his options menu or keybind menu, which allows him to basically skip a little fade-in animation that you normally have when entering Firelink, which Searzin didn't manage to do successfully, so you nicely got to see the difference between the two strats. And now they are both going to be heading over to the Undead Merchant, and they're going to be performing the first big glitch of the run called Prom Swap. Do you mind explaining that one, Max?
Yeah, I can explain it. Basically the goal of this glitch is to buy something for cheaper than it would be. So what they're gonna do is buy the bottomless box for the price of, I believe, a firebomb. And the way they're gonna do this is basically switch tabs and select the firebomb like on the same frame, and then it's actually going to
Sass messed up.
Oh, no,
He's gonna
yeah,
have
he
to get
messed it
some
up.
more souls. Yeah. Go on, sorry.
And then, yeah, so they're going to select the firebomb, switch to the other tab where the bottomless box is. And then you will see, it'll come up really quickly, but you can see he could buy that. Actually, I think it's still set 1,000 souls, but it actually buys it for like 30 souls or whatever the price of the firebomb is. So that'll be used later on as well in the run to buy the Crest Vartorius for really cheap. And it's super useful. Super
Yeah,
useful.
that's correct. Thanks for the great explanation. Basically, like, the game still depletes the amount of souls that the item would normally cost, but since they are doing it as the last event, as the last thing that they do at the merchant, it only detracts what they have left, right? So if they are left with like 50 souls, it's gonna detract those 50 souls, even though it's trying to detract the full 1,000. All right, jumping over the barrel, that's good. Well, this is kind of well, nice block. This is kind of all these memes here in the early game have kind of evened out
Yeah.
the playing field. Now it's us healing as well. Hzsyahzin not getting blocked. Let's see if he also heals or if he just goes for Taurus.
It is very easy to make these little mistakes when you're nervous at the start of a race.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah. Right, second boss fight of the run with the Bandit Knife. The Bandit Knife powered by the Gold Pine Resin, which they had both picked up. The Bandit Knife also procs Bleed after several hits. You can see the massive pop of damage there on Sass's screen. And that's a really good fight for Saastutin. Hzsyahzin having to roll, a little bit imperfect positioning, but that's no matter. He got a little bit unlucky there on the left side, couldn't actually strafe it, but still got the job done, which is great. And now Sass is approaching Hellkite Drake on the bridge.
yes, he's gonna be shooting the Drake down and getting the Drake sword, which, you know, is everyone's favorite starter weapon here. And he's only gonna use it for one boss and maybe a couple other things, but it's pretty much just used for the next boss, which is Iron Golem. Basically we need something for Iron Golem, but after that it'll be the Dragon Tooth and magic.
Yep. Another good thing about getting this tail is actually like the fastest way to get through this bridge would be to just run under Hellkite, but his RNG is quite random, and if he feels like it, he's just gonna burn you to a crisp. So cutting the tail or just aggroing him really allows you to get through the bridge safely. Alright, well, right now it seems like both runners are probably going to be heading towards the first major sequence break of the run, which is the Sense Gate Skip. So what they are going to do, essentially, is activate a state called the Death Cam. The Death Cam is the top-down view that you normally get when your character falls off of a screen somewhere, like you fall off of a platform. Its purpose is to give it more of a cinematic feeling, but also to prevent everything from loading or deloading. You don't want, as a developer, the game to just spaz out and load different areas if the player falls from one area to another. They're gonna do it by pairing and reposting a holo, just like this, and that pushes their character through the wall partially. Now, in this case, there are two different planes there. There's the Deathcam activating plane, and then there's the kill box. They're not the same thing, right? So one of them kills the character, and the other one activates the Deathcam. And like I said, while this is active, nothing is gonna load or deload. However, in order to save computing power, some assets to areas are loaded later than the areas themselves. Assets such as ladders, elevators, or in this case, gates. So that means when Sass and Hzsyahzin both got the Deathcam active, the gate to Sense Fortress was not loaded, while the start of the area was loaded. So this allows them to bypass the requirement of ringing both the Bells of Awakening in order to enter it. Sass is gonna quit out here to put everything back to normal, and you're gonna see him inside of the fortress.
Yeah, so we're pretty close race still. No major mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're both just entering Sens at the very similar time. Anything could happen.
That's right.
So yeah, we're gonna find out what route Hzsyahzin is gonna be using here. We'll see if he gets Logan or not.
Yep, Sass should be probably getting it
Yes.
in order to obtain some of the sorceries that Logan will sell. They are very important for especially one of the strategies later in the run, which we'll talk about. So the Drake Sword R2 will be used to break the wall. It's not actually the Drake Sword R2 that breaks it, it's the lizard and his flying animation. opting to not go for a quit out, getting good RNG. The Lizard is being slow, and it seems like Saastutin going for the same thing. He wasn't baiting an attack, so we'll see if the snake's gonna follow him fast. He
Yeah,
did.
usually, yeah. If you start running right away after hitting the snake usually will follow you. So that's why you see runners kind of wait around the snake to maybe make him fall, or it also just makes him slow a lot of the time.
Yep.
But
Saastutin was fortunate enough that indeed the Lizard didn't hit Logan, didn't interrupt the dialogue or anything, so it worked out just fine.
yeah, that would be that would be really bad if Logan ended up dying. I don't think it's happened yet, but
Well,
hopefully
still
it
got
doesn't
a lot of
happen.
races. Still got a lot of races left. All right. Well, I think it's about time that we explained the move swap glitch, which both of the runners have performed already. So we kind of slept over on that one, but you're gonna be seeing it a lot throughout the run. And you see that both the runners right now are dual wielding, or rather, I should say, two-handing the Drake sword in the left hand. Max, how is that possible?
Yeah, so what they're doing is basically they're abusing the fact that the bow is the only two-handable weapon in your left hand. Basically, with the bow, if it's in your left hand, you can just press L1 and then it'll, two-hand the bow, even though it's in your left hand. So what they're doing is they're queuing up that two-hand with the bow, but then they're swapping out the bow for a different weapon. So before it actually two-hands, it'll get swapped out, and then it'll two-hand whatever weapon they swapped in. And then now you can see that in their right hand they both have a rapier, which has very fast attacks, or we should say it has a fast running attack, which hits twice. And then that's kind of the purpose, is it transfers the move set of the rapier onto the left-hand weapon. And here on Sass's screen, you're going to see a double hit that he'll do with the Drake Sword, which is actually the rapier attack. So now that they can do massive damage very quickly, and when they get a bigger weapon, like the Dragon Tooth, you can just imagine the damage. It'll be quite the sight.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's dealing a lot of damage right now, but Iron Golem is honestly quite a tank for early game. And so the strategy that both runners are utilizing here is they are dealing 400 damage below knee level in order to stagger him, and then trying to do it with such a setup that it's not going to work for Saastutin, I think. They're trying to do it with such a setup that Golem's going to fall off the bridge. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. He's going to have to quit out and try the fight again. After he is staggered, it's further 200 damage below the knee level in order to make him fall. And this is very unfortunate. Saastutin had to wait a little bit longer before the last running attack, but it can be kind of deceiving sometimes, because the Golem with that particular RNG takes a while to turn around. And because this is RTA, all of the quit outs and everything counts towards the race time, right? So if this was a regular run, for example, quitting out would not be that big of a deal. Meanwhile, in a race like this, any extra quit out is going to cost the runners a lot of precious time.
Yeah. Okay, should work for him this time.
Yeah, looks a lot
Looking
better.
good.
Very nice.
Sass is still... Oh, Sass is still going strong, coming up to the rafters, which is a very scary part.
Absolutely. We have to
It
realize that their last bonfire is all the way at Undead Parish at this moment, so a death would be several minutes of time loss.
Yeah, but he made it past the scariest part, which is that initial ladder, where the knives from the enemies could very easily kill you, and there's not much you can do about it. But yeah, luckily he made it past.
Yeah, no problem there. Runners always make sure to heal up to full health before the ladder, but the thing is that, like, you can randomly get up to 3 daggers or something to hit you there, so what I've been doing personally is I just always prepare a quit out, and if there's gonna be the first dagger hitting me, I will probably just quit out
Yes,
and try
same
to
here.
heal up. Alright, the next step is actually activating and resting at the Darkmoon Tomb bonfire. This bonfire will be used later, twice. Once to go to Gwendolyn, one of the optional bosses. And the first time it's actually going to be used to go to the Painted World, which is going to be right after the infamous Ornstein and Smo fight, and Stray fight, of course. You also see Sass picking up Ring of the First, or Sun's Firstborn. this is not for its actual effects, but there's going to be a glitch coming up, a very major glitch in the run where having a ring is necessary, and this is like the most. This is the ring that's just directly in the way, and it actually doesn't lose any time to basically pick it up. So it's right there.
Yeah, it's just to have a ring for the glitch. Yeah, so we're gonna see Sass do a quit out up here after he turns the elevator, and this is basically so that, as you'll see, he'll quit out right after getting off the elevator, but the elevator will still be moving, and this actually makes it so the elevator / staircase stays at the bottom position, so that next time he needs to use it, it'll already be where he wants. So there you go. You can see he even checked, and you can see the elevator wasn't there because it didn't save. It doesn't save until it gets to the very top. So then later on, that'll save a ton of time.
Yeah, it's obviously it saves a little bit less time again because you have to quit out in a race, but it's
That's
still
true.
a time save. Yeah. This is pretty interesting because a lot of the elevators in this game, like once you actually activate them and then quit out, they're going to be all the way at the final destination after the quit out. But this one works a little bit different.
I guess hzsyahzin is quitting out for resetting the gargoyle, I suppose.
Yeah, I
Must
wasn't
be.
paying too much attention there, but the thing is, sometimes the gargoyle from the elevator or from the upper Analondo can follow you all the way to the bonfire. And of course, if there's an enemy near a bonfire, you cannot rest at it, so you have to quit out to get rid of it.
He was able to rest, but I think the gargoyle was still following him because
Ah.
non-respawnable enemies don't get reset when you rest at the bonfire, I believe. So
Yeah, that's correct.
I think that's what he was doing.
All right,
It can be
taking
really
the-
annoying when trying to
Absolutely.
quit out. Yeah.
Absolutely. Saastutin pulling off the little trick with the elevator as well. Sass, in the meanwhile, taking the ONS bonfire in order to have a safety net here. ONS is probably one of the most random fights in the entire game. Definitely a lot of things can go awry there. And taking this bonfire is a nice safety net to have. Otherwise, he would be sent all the way back to the Darkmoon Tomb. Now he's proceeding to get the Dragon Tooth, the main weapon to be used throughout this run. Besides the Sorcerer's Catalyst, of
Yeah.
course.
All right. hzsyahzin is
Oh.
going to be looking behind. Oh,
That is scary.
got hit by what not what he was looking for, but the arrow instead.
Yep.
Although because of the quit out, the other guy's de-aggroed, so he's safe to just run up here and heal.
Good stuff. All right, Sass performing the Moosop again, failing it. Classic Saastutin fashion. And let's see what happens with ONS. So there's 3 openers. He's looking out to get the dash. The dash is the one that he gets. He's going to go to the left side to maximize the distance between Ornstein and Smo. Roll behind him. Running attack should stagger Ornstein in just 1 running attack, but in 2 ticks. Now he's going to try to approach Smo to bait an attack out of him. And Smo wasn't really cooperating, but because Sass was smart enough and healed up right before the fight, he was able to just kill Ornstein and then face tank Smo's attack and get into phase 2. So that's really nicely done. Phase 2 should be a lot easier because Smo is going to get staggered for quite a while with each running attack. And as such, it should be easy clap to actually stagger lock him unless he jumps away, which he did, but everything seems to be going pretty smoothly. It is important to note that while doing these move swapped attacks, not only is the damage being taken from Dragon Tooth, but also it's poise damage. So that's why the runners are able to stagger the enemies pretty easily. But it might look easy, but it's absolutely the opposite, and Sass played it really, really well there.
Yeah, even the jump back is usually not too bad, but if he jumps back, you're really hoping he jumps towards the end of the fight at the elevators. Sometimes Smo can just jump away, and then you're gonna miss the elevators if you're too far away when you get the final kill. So he got a good jump back.
Yep.
We'll see. A little struggle with move swap.
Being too fast there, actually. Doing the menus too fast. Alright, so doesn't go to down. Hopefully his ONS fight is gonna go as smoothly as well. In the meantime, Saastutin is proceeding towards Gargoyles. The goal right now after ONS is to essentially ring the bells as soon as possible because they both want to get Frampt to awaken and open the the pit in Firelink Shrine. Meanwhile, Sealzin getting the same opener, rolling behind Ornstein. Half of the running attack whiff there. And now he's
Good
cornered,
heal.
and this is... Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Sealzin play on mouse and keyboard? Because it certainly looks like it.
I don't know. I don't think so.
To me, like, the movement and everything actually does look like it's mouse and keyboard. When I looked at how he entered the fight, how he rolled behind Ornstein, like, to me, it seems like he's running in just 8 directions.
I'll have to look out for that, yeah.
But there he just made like a very small adjustment, so I'm really not sure. This is really weird. Meanwhile,
Gargoyles, yeah, pretty simple fight here. Because of Sen's Gate Skip, you can get you can get really powerful early on, and then come back and do these early game bosses with powerful weapons. So, pretty simple fight.
Like when you look at the camera management doesn't look like it's being done on mouse, but when you look at the movement, it looks like it's keyboard. So I'm like super confused. I'll lock on betraying him there, but no follow up from Ornstein. Right, he's probably gonna heal up now. That's a good choice. Ah, that was very unlucky.
Well, I think maybe the only attack that can kill you from full health. One of the only ones.
If you get hit directly by the hammer with that attack, then that deals a lot of damage. Getting hit by the handle or Smo's body or even the shockwave that the hammer sends around it, none of that is gonna kill you from full health, but this one unfortunately does. Yeah, maybe Chad is right. Maybe it's 1 player and 2 controllers. It's mouse and keyboard plus controller. Alright, so we see Sass visiting Rickard in his little cell. He does that to purchase the Sorcerer's Catalyst. We also saw Saastutin kick Lotrek off of a cliff. That is in order to maintain the ability to rest at the Firelink Shrine bonfire. Very important. And now he's going to be heading towards Quelag, and he's going to be doing a little shortcut down Blighttown, isn't he, Nax?
He is. You're gonna see some pretty nice jumps and plunges and rolls. Do you want to explain how the plunges work? Because it's always been a little bit of a mystery to me.
I mean, it's the best explanation we really have is that jump attacking or plunge attacking a sloped surface like this gives you the ability to it gets you into an animation that gives you the ability to roll out of it. Right? And that actually can happen even mid-air, for example. So that animation doesn't last too long, so you cannot use it for like all kinds of different falls. But here with the slopes and the slide being kind of fast, Saastutin is able to basically maintain that animation all the way until the ground. And then he times his roll, and the iframes, the invincibility frames of the roll, are enough to prevent fall damage from occurring to his character, so it saves him from dying from those falls that he normally should be dying to. Meanwhile, Sealzin in the second phase of the ONS fight. Hopefully he'll be able to... Oh! Not like this! Lingering hitbox there.
I wasn't watching his first phase, so I didn't realize that was there.
No, don't run into it.
He's gonna maybe hit it again. No.
It's so close, he's right there.
This is so nerve-wracking.
Okay, he did it. Okay, nice. Oh, man. So what can happen?
Yeah, go on. Want to leave that position.
All right, kind of a close fight for Sass on Quelag as well. Wasn't the best RNG, but he managed to get through, so that's good. So to explain just the lingering hitbox a little bit, like new runners even these days still get surprised at that, and it's kind of funny every time they post about it in the Discord.
Yeah.
But essentially, if there's a hitbox active on the map and a cutscene starts, the hitbox is always gonna stay there until the area is reloaded. So what must have happened in the first phase is that either Smo or Ornstein was doing something, was in the middle of an attack or something, and that's when the cutscene started for second phase, and the hitbox stayed there.
Yeah, I believe the attack animations are responsible for disabling the hitbox, but the animation never finishes because of the cutscene that shows up. So then it
Yep.
never gets disabled.
All right, so important stuff coming up right now. You saw Saastutin put the Soul of Quelak and his arrow into the bottomless box. And do you want to take this one away, Nax, or should I do
Yeah.
it?
No,
Alright.
I can try my best.
All right, do it.
So he's gonna be using a glitch called quantity storage, which I don't think we've seen yet in this race. But basically, what he's gonna do is he's gonna sell more items to Frampt than he actually owns. So right there, you saw that. Well, it was really fast, but you saw that he sold 99 arrows to Frampt, and then he ended up with 999. And so basically, he's selling more arrows than he owns to Frampt, but the arrows are in the bottomless box. And that actually, I guess, underflows it to the maximum value, because he had one, he sold 99, and then it goes negative, but I guess it goes back up to the maximum. And he did that with the souls as well. So he sold 999 souls, even though he only had, like one. And he did that a few times and got tons of levels. And basically the initial arrows, getting 999 arrows, the purpose of that is so he can store that 999 quantity again by just selecting the arrows and then having that 999 show up in the quantity box. Anything else you want to add?
Well, I
It's
just
kind of
want
a
to say
scuff.
that, no, I think the explanation made a lot of sense. Just want to add that obviously selling souls to Fram gives you a lot of souls to currency. So while selling the arrows wasn't anything great, it basically allowed him to just store the quantity. Selling the soul gave him a ton of currency as well, which allowed him to level up a hecton. Hzsyahzin having some very unfortunate endeavors with the Hollow Room and now with the Balder Knight on the stairs as well. And then back to Sass really quickly. He's heading towards Stray, and as he is doing that, you can see that he now has the sources, which he purchased from Logan. And he used basically the same quantity storage glitch to manipulate a quantity into the purchase prompt on Logan's merchant menu. And that way he was able to buy Soul Spear 4 times, even though Logan normally has it only once. So this way he has more cast than would normally be available. Because in Dark Souls 1, unlike in the subsequent games or in Demon Souls, there's no mana bar or anything. So you have a specific number of casts. And this way, Sass was able to get basically enough of them for any kind of endeavor that he's gonna have to deal with throughout the run.
All right, so if Sass gets lucky here, he can pretty much just spam his soul spears without even moving. So far, so good. Did have to reposition a little bit.
If you're wondering why he's using magic here, by the way, instead of Dragon Tooth, it's because the Dragon Tooth hasn't been upgraded yet, and Stray is quite the tank, and as such, it would be just, not much, but slightly slower to go ahead and use the Dragon Tooth here, so that's why he's using the sorceries. And now he's gonna pick up the Peculiar Doll, which allows him to enter the Painted World. Escaping the Black Knight's attack there, very good. He's gonna get his arrows back from the bottomless box, because he's gonna have to use them a couple more times in the run. And he's immediately gonna head towards the Painted World, because what he needs to do now is pick up the Red Sign Soapstone, which is a PvP item, but he's not gonna do some comfy PvP in the middle of the race, even though he probably could, because he's quite a bit ahead right now. But there's gonna be a pretty complex glitch coming up.
Yep, that is related to the ring that he picked up early on. The Ring of the Sun's Firstborn.
Yeah, it's all
So-
coming back together. It's all planned. Oh, Serzin going for bench skip. First try, easy.
Insane.
Well, he won the race in my book.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. So Painted World can look a little scary. There's a ton of hollows and enemies, but usually pretty consistent, even though they're all jumping and shooting fire at you.
The good thing with this route is that since you do the quantity storage glitch at Framt and you level up a lot, not only do you have extra health here, but also having levels gives you passive resistance, so the enemies deal less damage to you. So even though you might make some mistakes and get hit in places, it's not actually going to cost your life like in the usual fastest routes. I should also point out that the fastest routes for RTA and in-game time differ, so both runners are utilizing a route here that is basically optimized for racing. It tries to utilize the least amount of quit outs possible. And that's kind of the gist of it. So right now he's running up to get the red sign soapstone, the PvP item that I mentioned. He's probably going to do a full damage cancel right after.
Yep.
And now because this level is a prototype level, is the first one that From Software developed for this game, there's some wonky collision here, and Sass is basically able to get to the final boss of the area just by dropping on the side of the bridge here.
All right, hzsyahzin getting the plunges. A little trouble, but he got there in the end. And yeah, another nice thing about having all these levels and health at this point in Painted World is that that arrow bridge where you get a barrage of arrows. It's not as dangerous as it used to be, where you had very little health. So
Definitely.
oh, very good Priscilla spawn.
Old Walking could have been a little bit better. Could have went closer to the by Sass, I mean, could have gone closer to the end exit there, but I mean, it's not a big deal. All right, so what's gonna be happening right now is a little bit more complex. I'll try my shot at it. If there's anything that I miss or don't explain accurately, please feel free to correct me, Nax. But essentially, what's gonna happen right here is Sass is manipulating a high quantity again, and he's gonna store it and then manipulate it into Andre's menu, just like he did with Logan. He's gonna purchase pikes, which buys one big pike with the inherent quantity of 999 or 998. Now, the game calculates quantity, and this is a leftover from Demon Souls, for items, weight, I should say, as weight per 1 unit times quantity. This is because in Demon Souls, for example, arrows used to have weight, right? So the game needed to calculate how much the entire stack actually weighted. So now he has one very heavy pike, and DS1 also as a leftover from Demon Souls has an inventory capacity limit. It's at 10,000 weight units, which is absurdly high, and you should never reach it casually. But thanks to this one heavy pike, he's able to Sass is able to do that. When you reach that limit, the game doesn't allow you to unequip your rings anymore. Again, it has to do with some leftover mechanics from Demon Souls with the Ring of Herculean Strength, but let's not get into that. And essentially, it glitches out the menu, and then it allows the players to equip items of one type into slots of another type, which is obviously not supposed to be possible. So what Sass did there is he equipped the Red Sign Soapstone, which he had picked up in the Painted World, into his ring slot. When that happens, the game doesn't actually check whether the item type is correct, but it only checks the ID number. And the ID number for the Red Sign Soapstone is the same as for the Red Tearstone Ring. It's 118. And the Red Tearstone Ring is a pivotal item in almost all Dark Souls speedruns, because it can double or even triple your damage when you're under 20% health. So the runners want to obtain it, but picking it up physically in the Darkroot Garden loses a lot of time, while getting the Red Sign Soapstone is just a small detour in the Painted World. So that's what happened there, and when the Red Sign Soapstone is equipped, it gains the effects of the Red Tearstone Ring instead. So now when Sass opens his menu, you can see that he has the RTSR at the bottom right, even though he never picked it up physically. It also shows the quantity of 1 there, which shows you that's like, you know, basically a glitch property, and it shows you that's the item that's being ESM'd, equip slot manipulated.
Yeah, so I don't know if you mentioned this, but yeah, that ring is like temporary. So if he unequips it, he's gonna lose the red tier stir ring forever until he performs the glitch again. So it's not like a permanent ring that he has there. He's got to be very careful not to take it off.
Yeah,
Otherwise he'll lose a bunch
that's
of time.
exactly right. It's because, like I mentioned, he never picks up the ring physically. It's the red sign soapstone that gains the properties of the ring. So he has the red sign soapstone equipped in his ring slot. So that
Yes.
means if he re-equipped it into like in a consumable slot, he would lose the properties of the ring. All right, so as we were explaining that, Sass quickly disposed of Hydra. Very well done. He needs to obviously do that because he needs to access the DLC. And he also frees Dusk, and now he's going to head back to the other side of the lake in order to summon her. Summoning her actually allows Sass to pick up her set later on when entering the DLC, which will be very important. Meanwhile,
I'm not
Season,
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah,
I
think,
would
I guess
say he
forgot
doesn't have a
something.
bottomless box.
Oh, that's probably a good guess.
Oh, he
he-
lost the arrows.
He lost an arrow.
So that could have many causes. I would suspect he forgot to put it in the bottomless box when duping it, so he just offered it to Framt. And then got rid of
He
it.
did it again?
No. I'm
Or-
pretty sure he equipped it.
Oh, I didn't see those 0 change to a 1.
Yeah,
The thing about that
I
menu,
think it's fine.
okay, that menu is, there's a huge delay on that bottomless box menu when putting stuff in. It's, yeah, it
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah, when you switch the tab, it has a very, very long menu delay indeed. On the left side, something very important is happening. You're gonna see Sass drop a negative amount of items. Just like that. So essentially what he does there is very similar to what he did at Andre. He purchased a large amount of catalysts. But then when you look at purchasing the catalysts again, the game has to determine what the maximum quantity it should allow you to purchase is, right? So let's say you have 20 firebombs, maximum stack is 99. The game does a calculation of the max stack number, 99, negative what you possess, subtracts what you possess, so that's 20. You end up with 79 being the max number of firebombs you can buy. But with items that do not stack, it still considers the same calculation, but it uses max stack as 1. And you should never really have more than one of the item in a single stack as well in your inventory. But because he's able to get an inherent quantity of a very high number, it does a calculation of 1 minus that very high number. So he ends up storing a negative quantity, and thanks to the prompt swap again, he manipulates that quantity into a drop prompt. So he's dropping a negative amount of items, resulting in a surplus of items in his inventory instead. So he did that with the dragon scales. He obtained the dragon scale from killing Hydra. Dragon scales are normally very difficult to obtain, so while the dragon tooth can be a powerful weapon, it usually takes a while to upgrade, but right now Sass has all the materials that he needs to actually get it.
All right, pretty good attack on the knight there for RTSR. Sometimes they can be a little bit of a jerk, but he's just making his way to Sif. Of course, using Magic Sif, everybody's favorite, and what you
as
should
it
be doing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also curious why Season went to the Undead Merchant to get the arrows. Surely it would have been faster just warp to Parish and buy them from Andre.
Yeah, that's true.
One thing that you also obviously caught was that Butterfly was disposed of very quickly with the sorceries. You have to understand that Sass has 99 intelligence leveled up, now Season as well. They're both very smart boyos, but also that allows them to deal a lot of damage, and thanks to RTSR as well, it's going to be a lot of damage here on Sif.
Oh,
But
unfortunate
healthy
jump
boy.
at the start,
Yep.
which actually ruined his entire soul mass. Still pretty good though.
Absolutely. Everyone knows that Soul Mass is the most reliable spell in the entire game.
Oh yeah.
So here you see Sass upgrading the Dragon Tooth. He's also gonna attune Hidden Body, which is a spell which he had purchased from Dusk. Um, it is supposed to do exactly what it says. Sometimes it doesn't, but essentially it hides your body in such a way that the enemies are gonna aggro a little bit later, and it's gonna allow the runners to kind of trespass certain areas that could be pretty problematic, that have a lot of enemies around, with a little bit more safety.
Yeah, unfortunately, the soul mass doesn't deal the full damage if something comes in contact to it or with it before it shoots. That would have been really nice if it did do full damage. But yeah, it does like a little tiny bits of damage, which is what happened at Sif for Sass.
Yep, didn't get the full cast properly. So now the goal essentially is just to understand what's happening for Sass, okay? The bonfire that he took in Darkroot Garden is not warpable. So that means he wants to do as much stuff out of it as possible before he loses it. So he basically did everything that he could. The only thing there in the garden that's left is entering the DLC. So that's why he's heading over towards the Duke's Archives now and towards Seath, because he needs to obtain the Broken Pendant in order to enter the DLC. He already killed Sif, already killed Hydra, he already killed Butterfly, so DLC is the last thing. And once he enters it, he can take whatever bonfire he wants, because there's no need for him to go back to Darkroot Garden again.
Yeah, and the reason we want to do DLC earlier is because of that's where Darkbeat is, which is a super broken spell that we'll be using, or that he'll be using. So we want to get that as early as possible to get really quick fights in the late game.
Yeah, as Nox says, like, because it's a DLC spell, right? And they're gonna be using it, both runners, that is, outside of the DLC, and especially in some of the early game bosses, you can expect some pretty incredible damage. But here's Duke Skip.
Yes, there are also bosses in the DLC, but we go there earlier to get Darkbeat. And yes, there's Duke Skip, a nice little sequence break by just a few rolls. And clever use of the elevator.
Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone tell you that it's a glitch, because it's not. But as simple as it seemed, like, obviously it's not the easiest thing to do, but like in principle it's a very simple sequence break, while at the same time it's one of the most time-saving ones, because you skip the entire first part of the entire first encounter. So I'm looking over at hzsyahzin's screen.
He got a little confused about falling down one extra level there, I think.
Was that after getting the soapstone or before?
No, I think that was before.
So he has to run back up.
Yeah, running past those birds going up there is it's not the easiest thing in the world. It can be a little annoying. Oh, Sass going for the manly drop, which is basically just a faster drop than faster, a little more dangerous drop than going slightly farther down the path.
You also don't just want to do these drops simply to navigate around the area faster, but you see Sass taking full damage. He does that on purpose so that he can activate his Red Tearstone Ring. One thing I haven't mentioned, or we haven't mentioned, is that the Dusk Crown Ring, which both the runners will obtain or have already obtained from Hydra, will halve your HP, but give you also extra casts. Now, the good thing about that is that fall damage in this game is always based on the percentage of your max health and not on absolute values. So that way, the runners can equip the Dusk Crown Ring and take fall damage, then unequip it, and that's going to put them at lower percentage value of total health and end up getting them into RTSR range. So that was Seath right there. In classic Saastutin fashion, he didn't do it in 2 running attacks, but 3 again. Because he messed up and probably went all the way through the core with one of the running attacks because the Dragon Tooth is just so big. The start of the fight consisted of shooting a crystal that Seath spent many, many years and probably centuries trying to work on, and then he broke it with like an arrow that costs 3 souls, killing his
Yeah.
entire life's worth of research.
You should have put a little more protection, or maybe built it out of something else.
Yeah. Maybe hit it better or something, I don't know.
Yeah, just right in the open in his lair.
So again, here you see the Dust Crown Ring in action for Sass. He's not in RTSR range right now after taking that damage, but on the Fog Gate to Guardian, the first DLC boss, he's gonna unequip the ring, and then he's gonna be in RTSR range. Alright, so if you haven't caught the ESM procedure properly, you can catch it on hzsyahzin's screen right now. Again, he's gonna first do the shenanigans at Andre, getting the pike. Then he also is gonna get a shield and a weaponsmith box. And then he's gonna do the prom swap for the Crest of Artorias, as was earlier described by Nax. And then the procedure of actually equipping the Red Sign Soapstone is gonna happen here after the Titanite Demon, probably doing a running attack.
Unfortunate lightning start. Oh, it was just one lightning. It's not bad on Guardian here.
Yeah, that basically doesn't really lose any time since you can be moving towards the other side of the arena.
Yep. Still very good fight. Still good fight. I'm guessing he's skipping the skipping the bonfire. Artorias dies super quick, so it's not too dangerous.
It has been kind of the flavor of the tournament to skip this bonfire, since one thing that we need to note is that not only are you losing time getting the bonfire, but you would have to reset up RTSR again, which takes quite a bit of time by taking some extra fall damage.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to, but yeah, I don't know what would be faster in the end. Probably RTSR, but
yeah, it's kind of a. I mean, the thing is that you obviously want to get the smoothest Artorias fight possible, and that's gonna happen with RTSR, right? So you usually want to keep it. All right, well, air rolling. How does this work?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I can explain how to do it. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty insane how precise it is. But the reason why you get a ton of rolls and your rolls reset is maybe something for you to explain.
All right,
but basically,
I'll give it a shot afterwards,
basically Sass is they leveled up an endurance amount that is very specific, and they're also using very specific items to basically have an equip load, a percentage equip load of a very, very specific number, which escapes me at the moment, but it's somewhere around 29%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact number. I can't quite remember because it's.
I know that the decimals are 0.000088.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think 26.000088%. I actually don't remember right now. I will look it up, please.
Yeah, so if you get to that, if you get in that very small range of equip load percent, you can actually do the air rolls, which allow you to just keep rolling as much as you want when you're in the air, and as much, as long as you have stamina. It's the same glitch in Remastered, but in this game it is way, way, way more precise. In Remastered, you have like I think a 4% range. In this game, it's like 0.0000. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's 25.000088%. So that was
25%, not 29.
That was a really good Artorias fight for Sass. Very smooth, just 2 running attacks. And now he also went to kill Gwendolyn. There's no giant reason for it. This is like really the most convenient time to go kill Gwendolyn. The runners don't do it earlier because they would not be able to one-cycle him. And right now, it's probably one of the more exciting parts of the run for SAS, because what's going to be coming up is the Golfless Calamite, which is a very recent discovery. Only about a month and a half old, where it had already been known that you can kill Calamite without Golf's assistance, but it was kind of hard to actually get it to work properly. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's not good. That happened
That's
to
not
me in
good.
my last race, and I died here, so that wasn't great. But yeah,
Yeah, the thing-
essentially...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that essentially what the goal is here is to use Soul Spears in order to kill Calamite without Golf's assistance, and do it very quickly.
Was this gonna be RTSR? I don't think.
He's gonna unequip DCR.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So Androv T, our favorite glitch hunter, like I said, very recently discovered that there is a blind spot that's a little bit different than from what we used before, where we needed to block Calamite's attacks. But with this particular Calamite attack, you can stand in this specific place and never get hit. So what Saz does is he stands there and then just locks onto Calamite and keeps on spamming Soul Spears. Now he's also going to be shrugging, or titty shaking as we sometimes call it. He's not doing this for style, but he's timing Calamite's return. Because if you return too soon, you're going to trigger an attack that you don't want, and that's going to hit you in the blind spot, right? It's not going to be a blind spot, really. So you got the good attack, you see lock on, another Soul Spear, and he's going to do 4 per each cycle, which is just enough to actually deplete his health bar. Calamite finishes his animation, and then dies at the end there. Boom. Right, like so. The proof of his death is going to be the fact that Sas is going to obtain the 60,000 souls and the Calamity Ring right here. It's very cool. It is super, super cool because this sent the entire DS1 PTDE routing into a frenzy, as there's also a way to do it just with a melee weapon, because Calamite's hitbox, or Calamite's tail hitbox, extends all the way to the ground, essentially. Not all the way to the ground, but it extends low enough that you can hit him with a melee attack. So the entire Prepare to Die edition route transformed into something completely new, and you can definitely expect some very fast new records somewhat soon, I would say, as more people actually learn it and run it. Yeah, the route is called Optimal. Everyone knows
Yes.
that's the only legitimate name.
That is
Every
the
other
name.
name is absolute fake and a travesty.
So Sass did a couple more air rolls to get down to the bottom of the township and to the dungeon very quickly. And because he did Golfless Calamite, he was able to skip going to the Mimic and getting the key. So it's huge time save to, or with that new strat. And now he's going to be picking up Dark Bead very easily, just killing both enemies near it. So it's very safe to pick up compared to how it used to be and how it is in
Yep.
some other routes.
Soulspear has the nice benefit that it actually pierces the first target, so it's gonna basically hit 2 targets if done correctly, sometimes even more. If you're like spamming, for example, the Picassos in the
Yeah.
prison of Duke's Archives.
Ooh, going for the fancy jump for the style points. Also a little faster.
Very true. Small 4-gate skip here to enter Manus's fight. It's not just to actually save a little bit of time overtaking the 4-gate, but it's a very convenient RTSR setup. Let's see what RNG he ends up getting. So the
Ooh.
first RNG is a stored roll. Let's
Yeah.
see if he punishes the opener. He does. Okay, not going for the Blossom usage. Getting one more combo.
now-
He's going to be able to apply it. Never mind.
Oh no, he's not going for the Blossom.
Oh, interesting strategy. I have not seen that. There should be
Yeah, I haven't
still
either.
2 more running attacks. Because overall isn't good enough. Sas playing it very safe. But, I mean, you can say what you want to say. Obviously, there was room for improvement in that boss fight, but he's playing what he needs to. He's not dying. He's playing consistently. And I don't know if he's watching the chat, if he knows what's happening with hzsyahzin, but he is playing exactly what he needs right now.
Yeah, it's even if you get some slow segments, it's really the most important thing is not dying in these races. At least, yeah. If you're in the final rounds where both runners are extremely good, maybe then it matters more. But just not dying is very important at this point.
Yeah, it's true as Chad is pointing out, like in Sas's last race, I did ask in the interview, he did say that he didn't have chat open, so he's just focused on his own run, trying to be as consistent as possible. So good for him. I've been doing it the other way around. I always have the chat open, and last time that happened, I got caught up in it and forgot to equip the orange charge ring. So that was quite something. All right, so that was the Fire Stage elevator clip. We actually haven't explained that whatsoever. You want to take that one away, Nax?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so basically, what he did was abuse a couple things. Basically, every time, well, basically that elevator. Let's start with the elevator. The elevator loads in later than like everything else when you quit out near it, or when you just quit out. So
Yeah,
he got
it's
really
not part of the same area, basically. So the area loads first, and then the elevator loads later.
Yeah, so he got very close to the elevator, and then used the fact that when you quit out and load back in, you actually move back a little bit. So he actually just kept quitting out until he moved back onto the elevator. But since the elevator loads in a bit later, you actually fall right through. And it just so happens that the boss, Fire Sage, is right down there. And it just so happens that you can plunge that boss, and that'll break your fall, and you won't take any fall damage, you won't die. So it's kind of a really nice, perfect scenario to get down there quickly. And another side effect it has is that because you don't enter the boss fight in the normal way, which is through the fog gate, it never actually enables the boss's AI. So the boss just stands there and lets you kill him, does nothing. So it's a very, very just, everything falling into place for that one.
Yeah, it's quite hilarious because normally you're not really supposed to plunge the boss casually. There's no scenario where that should happen. But the boss himself, Fire Sage, is just a reskin of the Asylum Demon, which has the scripted plunge at the start. So that's why you can plunge the boss, even though it should basically never happen in a casual playthrough. So as Snacks pointed out, the amount of things that come together there in order for that skip to work it's quite remarkable, really. Hzsyahzin, in the meanwhile, having some trouble with Duke Skip, having to wait for the elevator. Let's see if it gets it on the second go. All right, very nice. And Sass heading over to the best boss in the game, my favorite, Bed of Chaos. It's gonna be utilizing the well-known strategy of talkie bombs, the two precisely aimed bombs from the middle of the arena in order to destroy the two beams, orbs, whatever you want to call it, on the sides to be able to access the worm in the middle. And as you've noticed so far, after the DLC, he's killed two bosses, the Fire Sage and Centipede Demons, and both of them took insane amount of damage from the Darkbeat spell.
Getting a mimic kill over here with I guess the falchion.
Yeah. I don't know what that is for, but
It'll be a surprise for all of us.
maybe switch to all achievements in the middle. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Time to farm the trident while he's here. So there's bomb number 1 on the right side, and he did a very quick left side bomb, which is obviously fast, and it looks neat to do it before the cutscene.
Yep. Very well aimed. He also used the Green Blossom again. That's an item that improves your stamina regeneration, which is pretty good for rolling through the branches here, since sometimes if you're unlucky, Bed of Chaos can do the Firestorm attack, and it might hit you while you're destroying the branches to get to the worm. But with more stamina, you also will be able to cover more distance and just kind of navigate around a lot more quicker, being able to either just trade with the worm or just dodge it altogether. The Firestorm, I mean. So now Sass is gonna finish his killing spree here in Izalith on the Ceaseless Discharge. Again, he sets up RTSR with some neat full damage and the DCR, and the fight shouldn't be very long. Another reason why he's doing so much damage besides just RTSR is the Dusk set. As I mentioned, he was able to pick that up right as he was entering the DLC. And the Dusk Crown, the little 2 wings on his head that you can see equipped, it gives a 20% boost to sorcery damage, so that's pretty huge. 20% doesn't sound like much, but it really is a game changer. And it's the only reason that you can do Calamite somewhat comfortably, you know, in just 2 cycles, the Golfless Calamite.
Yeah, I believe it also makes the 4 Kings fight later on much faster, because you can do it one cycle faster than without the crown.
Yeah.
So that saves a good 20 seconds or so.
It might be even more, actually, I think.
Yeah. Just go to my run from yesterday. We'll time it.
Oh, did you get 2 Kings?
I did, yeah. I missed one little dark bead, and then it wasn't quite enough.
You still finished with like a low 110 or something, right?
Yeah, it was 110.20, I believe.
That's very good. I wasn't able to catch that race, but that sounds like a very clean run.
Yeah, apart from the 4 Kings, it was pretty good.
Well, right now Sass is heading over to Nito. It's gonna be quite a long run. Obviously, he's also gonna run past Pinwheel in the meantime, with a little stop to press R1 once and cast 1 Darkbeat. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is if you're wondering why arrows are desirable, it's because plunging is not really available in all areas. So first is obviously the requirement of the fall not being too long, since you would just get out of the plunge animation that allows you to roll. And the second is that you need to plunge a slope surface, as I had explained earlier. And for example, down the elevators in the DLC, there's no slope to actually plunge, so that's why you want to air roll in those places. Alright. Steals in on Guardian. A nice jump.
Accidental jump. Oh. Okay, he should got. Yeah, he got
nice.
this. I'm keeping an eye out for the Falchion usage.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite something. Skipping the bonfire as well. Let's hope Artorias goes well for him, because otherwise that's a long run back, since the last bonfire is all the way in Darkroot. Yeah, so just to reiterate, the air roll glitch allows you to roll mid-air, and if you time the air roll correctly, the last roll is gonna always line up with the floor. So that means when you're supposed to take fall damage, the invincibility frames are active, and as such, there's not gonna be any fall damage taken. Sass not doing the Foggate skip, I don't know why. Sounds like a peach to me.
I also didn't do it yesterday, and I think he probably has a similar thought as me, where if you fail it, you have to do a quit out, which is pretty slow. It is usually, you know, not too difficult of a skip, but it is a quit out if you fail it.
That is true. And it saves only like 5 seconds or something, so it's really minor.
Yeah.
The thing also is that it might not be obvious at first glance that you failed the jump. And then getting the quit out once you only see that you failed the jump is really hard, because the kill box is quite hard. So...
Yeah, it's not a free quit out.
Yeah.
You can still die.
Alright, Hzsyahzin playing out the Artorias fight with a buff. Very clean, very well done. So now he's gonna do what Sass did. He's gonna go to Gwendolyn first and then try to do the Golfless Calamites. Meanwhile, Nito on the other side of your screen. But first, a required RTSR setup. Let's see if he gets any screams and how he decides to dodge them if so. Alright, so he was gonna do the block strat, but no screams. Which is a little bit of a shame, because
Yeah.
it's very, very neat.
Maybe
The
we'll
strategy.
see it on the other side here. All right, so I believe Sass just has what, 4 more bosses? He has 4 kings, Capra, Gaping, and then Gwyn. So
That's correct, yeah.
he is very close to the end. A little bit of an unlucky Gwendolyn here, spamming some magic. Oh, there we go. He should be fine now.
Yep. Even though we can do it in one cycle, usually it's still gonna be important to get the correct attacks in order to be able to approach Gwendolyn. If you don't get the RTSR set up, it's 2 running attacks, so you need to get the stagger, which means you absolutely require arrows. Here, hzsyahzin could have actually gone and punished the big orb, but he wasn't getting that one. Seal skip on the left side. I don't think Sass got it there, but how does this one work, Nax?
Yeah, this one is another abuse of a slope. So he's going to be trying to just get right on the edge and fall straight down, so he hits the slope at the bottom, which is under the water. And because when you hit the slope, your fall damage is delayed, you can actually quit out after it saves your position down there, but before you die to the fall damage. So now he's actually under the water, alive, out of bounds, and he can just run straight to 4 kings, going through a different way than the normal way.
Indeed.
Just right down here.
All
And
right,
he's gonna be. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that he's gonna unequip the Dust Crown
Same.
in order to not kill the first king with 1 dark beat.
Yeah, you want to get the first king as low health as possible before it dies, just to give you a better or an easier time getting the 1 king set up. So.
Yeah, very clean. So what happens there is, in this game, when enemies die, you can still attack them and technically deal damage. But normally, like, you know, 1 enemy means 1 health bar, and if it's already at 0, it doesn't matter that you're dealing more damage to them. However, here, both the individual kings and have health bars, and there's 1 health bar for the cumulative kings as well, for the boss fight, right? So when he's hitting the individual king after he's dead, he's still dealing damage to the cumulative health bar, and as such, he's able to deplete it all the way to 0, basically doing the fight in just 1 cycle. A little parkour here, Lowerberg skip to get to Capra faster. Doing a plunge, not going to be setting up RTSR for Gaping. This should be a pretty fast fight against Capra, yeah. And then you're always going to see runners go for a quit out, because if you quit out as soon as the boss is dead, the boss still is recognized dead. But at the same time, the arena is still considered unstable ground, so the game puts you to your last stable position, which is in front of the arena, and that's really beneficial there, because otherwise the dogs could block you and it could get ugly.
Yep, you could you could do what I do and just dark bead your way out.
Yeah, brute forcing should work pretty well too. Unless you're doing the RTSR setup for Gaping, which is something I've been actually opting to do in order to always get a 2-shot here.
Yeah, you can still get a 2-shot, but you have to stand really close. With RTSR, you can be pretty far away.
Mm-hmm. So, hzsyahzin, unfortunate there, getting hit by the dark beat of the sorceress, right as he was turning the corner as well. Fortunately, this is not a very long run back, because he has the Township Bonfire, and he can arrow back down again. Alright, so Sass gets the slam, goes up close. He kind of messed up his movement there.
Yeah, choosing for the the 3-shot.
All right, well, I was gonna be just heading over to the kiln. That's all that is left. I believe this is gonna be Sass's best run of the tournament so far. I'll make sure to double check this information, of course.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. His previous best... Man, Sass has done so many races. His previous
Yeah.
best was like a 111, so... He's definitely on pace to beat that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a bunch of mistakes in this run, but like nothing major. This is a time that can beat, you know, I want to say like 7 out of 10 runners. It's really, really good stuff by Sass. But the run isn't over yet. Of course, there's still the possibility of missing a parry, which Nax knows a thing or two
Oh,
about
yeah.
killing a PB to the parry.
I'm well familiar with this, with missing the parry.
Alright, getting the good running attack from the Black Knight there to set up RTSR, which means... Oh! Okay.
Got the
Young
scary
man
attack.
reflexes. Yep.
Doesn't happen often, but you always got to watch for it.
But yeah, this RTSR setup will allow Sass to kill Darkbeat. Yes, kill Darkbeat and Gwyn in just 2 Darkbeats.
Yeah. Just take Darkbeat out of the game. It's too powerful.
Well, funnily enough, the fastest route right now for all bosses in-game time-wise indeed doesn't actually use any magic. It's Black Knight Greatsword only, so all of this late game that you've seen being cleaned up with Darkbeat in the fastest route, that's not going to be there. Alright, he hit it. What a gamer. Gonna be just barely above 109. And GG.
There you go. 110.09.
That's good. That's really good.
That's very good.
So as we mentioned, the fastest time for Sass in the tournament. And looking at the results, you can see that these are the times, the low 110. That's about like what the runners have been pushing right now. Like I see Mario with 110.22, Nax with 110.20 as was mentioned before. Regal had a 109.59. I managed a 109.42. So around that 110, 109 mark, that is where a lot of the average is going to be. But I'm also curious about what's going to be happening in the next rounds because I'm definitely certain that 108 is not just possible, but something that can be done pretty well with some good RNG. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
curious to see if someone's going to be able to get that and who that someone is going to be. But yeah, in the meanwhile, hzsyahzin now is entering late game as well. He's doing the far stage elevator clip right now, so if you didn't catch it in its glory in the first time, during the first time, you can see it now. He decided to do an extra quit out, even though that looked like it should work.
So something I could mention about this fire stage elevator clip is that sometimes you actually get more damage on the plunge, which I think is your jump attack damage plus the plunge damage, which we call the double plunge, which it's not really a double plunge, but yeah, sometimes you can get extra damage and kill the boss in one less hit. But it's, as far as I know, there's no consistent way to do it. It just kind of randomly happens. At least no one's found a consistent way.
Yeah. It's basically the same thing that happens on the Asylum Demon, right? Where you can also get the double plunge, but
Yes.
there it's like a lot easier because you basically just stand above him and can do a jump attack.
Oh yeah, I guess you're not actually doing a jump attack in the fire stage elevator clip. So
Yep.
It's just the damage of the weapon, I guess. I'm not really sure, but ooh,
Oh, that was
very late.
interesting.
Yeah. Very late arm break there.
Not forgetting to equip the ring. Important stuff. I respect it. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in today. This has definitely been a really good race. Good performance by Sass and hzsyahzin, even though he has had some unfortunate deaths. I want to say that once he got past the early stage, once he got past the duping on Frams, like it's been pretty good for him as well.
Yeah, it has
Definitely
been pretty
putting up a
smooth.
fight. Yeah. The DLC was really good. There was one death there, but like all the bosses went well. That was really nice to see. And his previous times in the tournament were 137 and
I think
nothing, because he
Oh,
won
right,
by
yeah.
forfeit. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he's
that
only had
race had
one
to be
race.
canceled. Yeah.
So this looks like it should be. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff left. If you die on Nito, for example, that's a really long run back. But so I don't want to jinx anything. Don't want to impose Caster's curse on my man hzsyahzin. But it looks like he should also be able to beat his best in this tournament.
Yeah, I think after Bed of Chaos is probably about maybe like 12 minutes till the end if you don't die.
I would say that's a pretty
Approximately.
decent estimate. Yeah. Also, one thing that I want to point out is please don't tune out, because right after this race, there's going to be another one coming up. It's going to be between Pink and QQ, which should be a lot of fun. It's also in the losers bracket. Oh, well, speaking of not dying.
I think you might have cursed it. The commentator's curse.
Oh,
Oh, you did say Nito, though. That wasn't Nito, so.
yeah.
We're,
Doesn't count.
we still got time for it.
Yeah, but this is quite the run back. Fortunately, he doesn't have to run all the way around because this cutscene is activated now, which
I don't think he was.
not sure what he was going for there, but
Maybe
it's
some
fine.
muscle memory.
Yeah, possibly. I also still don't know what the Falchum was for.
We still got time to find out.
All right, now the obvious confusion of which
This is
side
the.
to go to.
Oh, yeah, you can't do it twice because there's no boss to plunge.
Yes,
But
that's the wrong side. Okay, he knows.
there we go. That's the hardest part of failing that. You gotta figure out which way to go.
Yeah, it's confusing though, because like all of the paths leading to the elevator shortcut look the same. So
Yep.
I don't blame him for not knowing.
It's not something that comes up enough where runners are like, "Oh, I know exactly where to go."
Yeah.
Maybe if you've played it casually a lot, but yeah.
Taking this bonfire instead of the one at the bottom. Interesting. Scared of the lava. Oh,
Oh.
going for the plunge. Nice.
Nice.
Okay, style points right there.
He definitely has won on style points for sure.
One thing we haven't mentioned at all, now that you can see it pretty well, is the left-hand toggle that you see with the bow, or the animation of trying to swap out your ammunition. So the reason the runners have been doing this, and the reason we also didn't really talk about it because it's not that major, is it allows the transition from the lower speed of jogging to sprinting to be skipped. So essentially, it allows them to start sprinting sooner, getting to top speed faster, if done correctly. Any upper body animation is going to do that. So it might be toggling with the bow, but it might also be just toggling with toggling off the weapon. So that means D-pad left or D-pad right. But I would assume that if done like correctly throughout the entire run, you're gonna save about maybe 2-3 seconds. So that's why we haven't really mentioned it, because it's much more important to have good pathing. It's much more important to have good stamina management. So that means utilizing as much of your stamina as possible. Basically, once you get to like a door and you're opening doors, to be making sure that you're at the lowest amount of stamina possible, so you sprinted for the longest amount of time that you could. But this is one of those things that really goes to show how deep this game can go, and how the mechanics in the speedruns can be complicated, even though they might seem very simple at first.
Yeah, I remember at first when this was found, I thought it would be like super annoying to do every run and like
Same.
get used to, but it actually adds like an extra layer of complexity, which is actually it's really really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, one extra bonus is that if you're toggling through some areas, like your hands are ready on the D-pad. So if there's like a random enemy flying in or something, and you can save time by just toggle escaping his attack, you can do that really easily. That happens especially in the early game in Undeadburg. All right, let's see if this daughter of chaos called Guaylana, according to the Japanese game manual, doesn't kill him. She didn't. So let's hope that the actual mother of chaos, bed of chaos, goes smoothly for hzsyahzin. I was also gonna point out that please don't tune out because there's gonna be another race coming up right after this one. And I actually did mention that fully, now that I remember. It's Alzheimer's at a very young age.
Oh, maybe someone just joined.
Yeah, maybe
Doesn't hurt
someone
to
just
say it
joined.
again.
True. So there's gonna be another race coming up right after this. That looks like a good throw. That's a little bit too
That
far left,
one,
but should still
yeah.
work. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's not very precise, luckily.
Yeah. It's not very precise unless you're me. Then it's so precise that you can just hit it ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be. What I wanted to point out is that the next race is between the 10th and the 12th seed of the tournament. So the runners should be matched up pretty equally. It should be a lot of fun. Pink is pretty well known, especially in like the previous tournament when he actually knocked me out 3 years ago for doing very safe strategies, but playing, slow and steady wins the race, that kind of style. So it'll be interesting to see how he's gonna clash up against QQ, who so far in the tournament has had faster runs than Pink, but Pink has also improved between his runs. The first one was 139, second was 127. Meanwhile, QQ has gone from 120 to 121 to 125, so he's only getting worse. So this should be really interesting. And it's going to be commentated by the lovely duo of Althorint, my Swiss boy, and Regal, who's doing the job of restreaming right now as well. Big shout outs to Regal. He is a big reason of why this tournament, well, the biggest reason why this tournament is actually happening this year and why you guys are getting this content. So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work put into this, and people, well, Regal and Curious Peanut, restreaming for long hours. So yeah,
Yep.
huge shout out to them.
To Red 2 Game as well, doing some restreaming action.
Red.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort in the tournament. You wouldn't really think it, but gathering the runners and navigating the bracket and getting the streams ready, and you always have to set up the audio for the runners and everything. There's a lot of effort going into this, so we really appreciate you guys joining it and enjoying the tournaments that we've had so far this year. I mean, it's there's been a Dark Souls 2 tournament, there's been a Bloodborne tournament, now we have a DS1 tournament. It's just DS3 that's kind of, slacking. Boys better cook something up.
Yeah, we'll see.
So if you're enjoying this sort of content, don't forget to follow so you can come back easier next time. And one more thing I need to mention is that next month there's going to be the annual Speed Souls Charity Marathon supporting Save the Children. That's always a big event, this time spanning over 4 days instead of just 3. So that's going to be a big event, and we definitely want to see you guys there. It's going to be a showcase of not just Souls games, there's going to be a bunch of other games as well, of course, done by friends of the Speed Souls community. All right, well, let's hope I didn't actually curse him on this Nito segment now.
Let's hope.
All right, I actually have to laugh out loud at the fact that DS3 won't even need audio setup since no one uses a mic while running that game. That's pretty hilarious, yeah?
Yeah.
Elf, thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs to the community. I hope everyone enjoys the lovely emotes that we have had commissioned for us. But yeah, if you're interested in Dark Souls speedruns or in Bloodborne speedruns or Demon Souls speedruns, then speedsouls.com is the place to be. You can read up about a lot of the glitches that we were talking about here. Of course, joining the Speed Souls community Discord, over 5,000 strong at the moment, is also a big thing. If you have any kind of questions or suggestions or anything like that, if you want to just interact with the community, that is the place to be as well.
And yeah, apart from the tournaments and the annual event, the charity marathon, we've also lately been doing more content on the channel, such as like other random races. Ooh, he almost got his skull there. But we do other, usually something every couple weeks when we aren't doing the tournament or the annual event. Tutorials, other random races, showcases, and just whatever the community
analyzing runs. So yeah, we really hope you've been enjoying the content we're trying to put out for you guys. And don't just think that this is like us doing stuff. You know, if you don't feel like you've engaged with the community that much, that isn't a reason to not just message one of the staff in the Discord and talk about, wanting to showcase something on stream. This is a community endeavor. This is a community channel. And everyone's more than welcome to set up some kind of an interesting showcase or race or anything like that.
Yeah, the channel's definitely open for anyone to, if they have an idea of something they want to do, they just let us know. It's definitely open to anyone.
So what happened there with hzsyahzin was unfortunate. He mistimed the first roll. That's the most important part about air rolling, is the first roll needs to be timed properly so that the last roll ends up lining up with the fall damage. The iframes end up lined up. Hopefully this one works a little bit better. There we go.
Yep. Also close to hitting the skull again, which
Yep.
I think we saw yesterday or in a recent race. Yeah, I think it was Regal maybe. It was someone yesterday where the skull just blocks you and then completely ruins your air rolls.
It's not like a lot of these things that seem to go smoothly. Rest assured that there's like 1,000 ways of how it can go air right. It's like you can hit the skeleton there mid-air. You can also, well, I guess not with this one, but you might also sometimes land on the bone wheel. What's also happened to me was that I got sniped by the necromancer while I was mid-air, even though I had hidden body activated. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that can go poorly in this game. And even though it might seem like hzsyahzin today got outclassed, just the fact that he's able to like finish Dark Souls or bosses, under like 2 hours, it's a pretty big achievement, because a lot of these tricks and things that he's been performing are not that easy to learn. Trying to go for the full gate skip, he got it!
That was a interesting setup. I wasn't sure if that was gonna work, but
yeah, same.
He knew what he was doing, I guess.
Dude, these style points on this run. Getting outclassed in speed, but if he readjusts for style, I think Sass is out of the tournament.
Oh, of course. I mean, as soon as you bench jump, like,
yeah,
you can't get much better than that.
But yeah, that lineup was quite something. So he jumped really, really early, but he jumped really far to the right. So the distance not being, basically the jump not covering as much distance still worked out just fine. You'll love to see it. All right, we'll see what happens on Nito. I kind of wish he gets a scream because I want to see the blocking strat.
Yeah, it's really neat. I assume he knows about the blocking strat. I think most people do now.
Hopefully, yeah. If it doesn't happen, we'll briefly explain what it even means, but hopefully we get to see it in action.
Thank you, Maz. That was totally intentional.
All right, so he knows about the blocking strat, but he got a stalled roll, but no screen. Oh, nice, nice flick shot. You never know if there's a skeleton peeking from behind. Like, I totally get that paranoia. But yeah, the blocking strat that we talk about is Something pretty funny, right? Because there's hitboxes in this game that you look at and you say, man, that's some scuffed hitbox right there. But when it comes to the hitboxes of the player, From Software have done a really, really good job. So if you two-hand certain weapons and then block with them, the Chosen Undead is essentially going to spread out his feet. And the Scream attack from Nito, even though it extends visually up from the ground, it's basically only a circle on the ground, the hitbox that is. And because you spread out your feet, your toes to the side, it's just going to go directly through you without actually hitting your character. So visually it looks really funny. I hope that if you're going to be joining us for more of the races, maybe the race coming up next, you'll be able to see it because it's really good. Saastutin trying to use the Calamity Ring there to set up RTSR, but he equipped the wrong ring.
Yeah, it was kind of funny watching him trying to hit the hollow with the rapier.
That's something that can happen at a bit of chaos sometimes. It's kind of annoying.
Always got to make sure you're not trying to hit Bed of Chaos with like a poke weapon.
Yep.
Very easy to go over. Nice seal skip. Nice first try.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's remembered the ring. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you can just, totally forget to put the ring on.
First dark beat, full hit, equips the crown, and nice. That was very smooth. Alright, so now heading towards Capra, then towards the depths, and then that's finito for him as well. I did curse him a little bit, but I think he could still beat it. Yeah, beat his best of the tournament.
Still got about 7 minutes.
A nice rolling strat.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I've never considered doing a roll there. Most people just sprint.
Yeah, it's because usually a roll would be not good enough because you would cast too late, as normally that fight used to be done without 45 dexterity. Which we didn't mention in the level ups. 45 dexterity is the cap for increasing casting speed, right? So you cast a lot faster.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Even more style points?
Actually, something new to explain?
Yeah. We haven't... I don't know if we've ever seen this in the tournament because it's really slow for real time, so people aren't doing it.
I did it against Mario.
Nice. But it's really cool.
Yep.
It's a very cool way to get to Gaping Dragon while being out of bounds, as you can clearly see.
It's a really cool skip. So the out of bounds seems very simple, but there's like a lot of things at play there actually. But the major gist of it is the way the game handles loading is pretty funny. So normally first the area that you are in, that you last touched, I should say, is the one to load first, right? So that's what happens there. But Hzsyahzin is quitting out at a transition between two different areas. And because the game has a 5-frame buffer of storing your position, so that means as long as you're moving your last stored position when you're quitting out, it's always going to be 5 frames delayed. He touches the depths area, while his last stored position is still in Undeadburg. So that means he spawns in Undeadburg, but Undeadburg also loads later than the depths. So that way he just clips out of bounds on the area load. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah,
then
and
because
then oh, I was gonna say, and then later in the skip, to actually get in the fight, he basically runs to a place near the boss fight to get back inbounds, and then does a quit out on top of a railing. And then he'll start on the railing, and that actually lets him jump right over the wall into the boss fight. And also gets RTSR in the process.
Yep. Imagine if this was Demon Souls, then you could just climb on the railing there,
Yeah.
not having to jump over it like that.
Imagine how often it would happen where you just accidentally climb over and then just fall down if you're playing casually. That happens in Demon Souls sometimes. You'll just accidentally climb over something and like fall.
Well, there's a lot of things that happen accidentally in Demon Souls, like kicking all the time, for example.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Dark Souls 1, it's like impossible to kick almost. Alright, getting the running attack as well. Well, it's just one Black Knight here. I mean, there's more Black Knights, but with good pathing, they should not pose a threat. Alright. And then one parry between hzsyahzin and his tournament best. Again, don't forget that we are not done yet. Right after the race, we're going to pull in the runners for a quick interview. And then after a short intermission, there's going to be another race coming up between QQ and Pink. You don't want to miss it. I don't know what Pink has been running. I'm pretty sure QQ is going to do the route that we've seen here. But I also would suspect that Pink is going to be running something a little bit more special.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah.
Well, only one way to find out, and that's to stay tuned and watch the race.
Okay, we got one more chance to use the falchion.
Maybe
Well,
he's
let's
gonna
see.
go. Oh!
Oh! In his left hand.
Oh! The parry!
That was very unexpected. I wasn't expecting the parry.
All right. Well, I was like, why is he equipping it in his left hand?
Yeah, I was concerned
like
for a bit.
Falchion finish or something. Man, that was amazing.
Man, he
Okay.
played the long con on that one.
Oh, that was beautiful. Well, finishing with a 135. That is indeed his new tournament best. Sub 9 in-game time as well. All right. Well, we got to pull the runners in here into the channel. All right. We got runners over here. Congrats, guys, on the very nice runs from both of you. I'm going to start with Sass. I just want to hear your first thoughts after that race. How are you feeling about your performance?
It was like the same as the last race, kinda. Except this time I didn't make like as big of a mistake in the early game. But it was like the same story again, where I make some mistake and then I have a solid rest of the run.
Yeah, it was really
But
good.
I'm
Really
kind
well
of happy.
played.
Like I think I've gotten better at the mid game and the DLC. So if I can just get a good start, I can get like a low 109, I think, or maybe even 108 if I get like really good RNG.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier in the race. That 108 is definitely something that's on the horizon, and Sass here is one of the runners that can get it. But I know Nax has a very important question for hzsyahzin here about what we just saw at the end of the run.
Oh yeah, man, you played the long con with that falchion. See
You know what? I remember reading it once. The Falcon can actually parry. So I was like, yo, let's go for it.
So that was actually you didn't know in advance.
Completely unplanned.
Oh man, that makes it even better.
It could have gone
That's so
horribly.
good.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was really good. Well, how do you feel about your performance here? You had some really unfortunate deaths in the early game, but especially the mid game and the like after fram duping and then the DLC looked pretty clean. So how do you feel about your performance here today?
Nah, it was pretty trash. Made loads of mistakes. Nah. Next time, next time.
Well, it was still faster than your previous outing, so
That's because last time I reset 10 minutes in.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, fair enough. But I must point out that you have done a bench skip, which Sas didn't do. You have done Tumo the Giant's for gate skip, which Sas didn't do. You parried Gwyn with a falchion, which no one's ever done. And then there was like one more thing that you did for style points.
Yeah, I can't remember. What was it?
There was a
But-
plunge before Centipede.
That's right, the
Yes.
centipede plunge after you died to the Daughter of Chaos.
And
but-
depths out of bounds.
And
How can
depths
we
out of
forget that?
bounds definitely counts as well.
The-
Yeah, so
The
Even
centipede
though-
plunge. The centipede plunge was completely unpracticed. That was the first time I've ever done it.
you're
Oh, man.
insane, dude.
I
It
mean,
was
you
so
nailed it.
smooth. Yeah, it was so good. But yeah, unfortunately for Season, this means this after this race is out of the tournament, as this was the lower bracket race here. But he left us with some amazing stuff that could go into the highlight reel. So thank you for that. Thank you for participating and for being up to the challenge of participating in the tournament, Season. Really appreciate you.
It was a pleasure. Big weight off my back now. I can chill.
And yeah, for Sass, he's moving on into the lower bracket, round 3. You're going to be racing against Static, who lost to Mario last night, I believe. I'm not going to ask you how you feel about the opponent, because you're going to give me the same answer as last time. But
Maybe
is
I'll
there
give it a different
anything...
one.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking to practice more and work on more until your next race?
No, I think just like being more consistent. Also, in that run, I kind of forgot some of the menuing. Like, I was a bit slow with some of the basic menuing for no reason, really. So I'm just gonna try to beat my PB maybe and just work a bit on optimization.
Do you think that might also be because of your Force Quit endeavors recently that you're getting a little bit confused, or do you think it was just happened in the
Yeah.
moment?
I haven't really done I've done maybe like 50 attempts of force quit, and I have barely done it, so it doesn't really confuse me. The run is so
Alright.
different. Like that's one of the reasons why I was doing it, because it's so different that like it's really hard to get it confused with all
Right.
bosses.
That's pretty smart. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, is there anything you want to add, Max? Any questions you have for the runners?
No, I think that covers pretty much everything.
Well, then it's been a great pleasure to be able to co-commentate with you. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks. It was it was a fun race. Very, very fun to watch.
Very cool indeed. Well, like I said, we're going to go to a quick intermission. And right after that, there's going to be another race between Pink and Orange and Gold and QQ, the number 10 versus the number 12 seeds. Please don't go anywhere.